Hi there. Welcome to Sunnyside Studio. I'm Catherine. If you're new here, I'm happy you joined me. I'm doing a little bit of work here on miscellaneous works. I'm doing some miscellaneous work on miscellaneous works. And I thought, you know what? I should turn on my camera just so you can see what I'm doing. So, miscellaneous works, the head and foot of the spine is very worn out, and I don't blame it. It is, this book is from 1880, so it's 142 years old. And she's in quite good shape, given her age. Now, I have already taken the text block out, but if you follow along with me, you know that for the most part, if it's still in one piece, I will still use it as to hold the form for the spine, to just make sure that the gutters here, remember to stay gutters, because if you're using water-based glues like a PVC type glue, that can relax that beautiful little fold, and we like that. It looks nice, and you know what? If you don't mind it relaxed, and it becomes smooth, then don't worry about it. I like to do my best to make sure that it is that it still stays a nice fold. So I've already done the top, which is why I thought I should turn on my camera. I'll let you see what it looks like now. So the top is now strong again. Yes, you can see I don't have matched fabric, and I really don't care. I like that haphazard look that someone has repaired this with different fabric to make it last till another 142 years. So a true book restorer would actually color match this fabric and do a much nicer camouflage job of this. That doesn't interest me because I like this look. So here's what this end looked like about 2 hours ago. It was coming apart, and normally that would have all been together and there would have been a little extra fabric there, and now it's separated. So I separated it a bit more and gave myself some room here. And I have already gone around the edges of these end papers and taken them back a bit so that when I put in the end papers I want to put in, they will completely cover the old end papers, and it will be as if mine of choice have just always been there. So, but I needed a bit more space in order to put the new little band, the new little sort of bandage that is going to go inside there, like so. And I'm going to just take the corner off a little bit. So hopefully this is showing up, because I don't want too much bulk. So if you can see here, I don't want too much bulk in these folds. So I've already done that down here, and I'm going to do it up here. I am going to work with PVC glue. use yours of choice. This is the one that I use by Line Co. I got it on Amazon. It's the one that Nick the Booksmith uses. So that is my only reason for choosing it, is if she thinks it will hold well, that's good enough for me. So I'm not sure I will keep you too long today. It does plug up quite easily. I'm going to give myself a bit of glue here. And I have already prepared these. That is doubled because I wanted a fold along here, so it's not a raw edge the way that is. I have done some book repairs where I wanted it kind of ratty up there. So it all depends on what you're looking for your finished product. And I'm going to, let's move this. This spine liner is actually quite all right. I'm going to take a bit of it out up here so that it's just the fabric. So I'm doing it gently. Let me see if I can bring it down a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. And there we go. So I'm just going to, you can use whatever tool works for you. I'm just using the little pointy end of my tweezers and just giving it a little scratch. That's just paper coming away. It's a little bit of loose fabric, but for the most part, because this is the bottom of the book, it's a little more worn than the top was because it's been resting upright for probably 142 years. So I'm just taking some of that paper of the spine liner out, but otherwise the spine liner is not bad, and I'm going to leave the rest of it be, which surprises me. I expected it to be disintegrating to dust, and it didn't. And there's some paper in here. Okay, I'm not going to pull too hard on that. That wanted to rip the fabric with it. I'm just going to trim it. Let's see if that will come off. Yes. Because I was able to save the original head and foot bands. You can see the glue here from those original head and foot bands. Just going to see if I can scrape a bit more off of this one. Top came off nicely. The bottom gave me a little bit more grief. I'm not sure if I'm going to put them back in or not. They weren't particularly pretty. So I'm undecided yet whether they will go back in. I'm just looking to see if I can take a bit more of this paper out and just expose the fabric so that I can glue fabric to fabric and get a better adherence. Is that the word I'm looking for? Adhesion? You know what I mean. I want the glue to stick. It's a nice day where I am here today. Was calling for some rain, but so far so good. I tried to take little Yoo-hoo for a walk. Colossal flop on that one. But we have our, I'm sorry if you can't see very well. It's in, the positioning is tricky because of this band of fabric here. There we go. Now I'm happy with that. Because of that band of fabric, and I'm not going to cut it just so you can see what I'm doing. You're just going to have to trust me. Alright, so now I think I'm going to sneeze. So I'll try and get away from my microphone if I sneeze. So I have just a little, I have the brush that I used this morning on the other end. This is already curving a bit in the direction that I want. So I'm not going to fight it. And I'm going to go in. I want some paper underneath. Where did it go? There it is. Still got some dust in there. And I don't want it because that will interfere with my gluing. Alright, there we go. So, I'm just going to dab. PVA, PVC. You know what I mean, white glue. Good old white glue. So I'm just doing the bottom for now. Am I in camera? I am. Good. There we go. And I'm going to slide this in. I'm going to push it up, slide it up a little bit. You have time with the PVA. Unlike art glitter glue on paper where you have to move quite quickly, this you've got a little time. Let's see. There's some threads that I'm just going to pull away. Like I said, I don't mind if it's a little shabby looking. I chose pretty, there we go, sorry. I chose, I think, a pretty fabric that matches. But is obvious that it is a repair. I don't mind that it's obvious that it's a repair. And now you can see I'm pushing on that fold because I want it to remember the shape that it was. Turn this over and take a look and see if I want that out a bit more, and I think I do, so I'm just going to give it just a little pull. And it'll move. There we go. All right. So I'm going to pause. Because the top, I guess the underneath, because this side is dry, I haven't glued it yet, I'm going to count on it to give the support I want for now. If I go in and glue this side now, the whole thing will be damp with a water-based glue, and it'll be harder for that little area to remember what I want it to do. So I'm going to pause, give that a minute to dry, because it won't take long, and then we'll come back and do the other side. So hold on, it'll just seem like a split second. Okay, so it's dried. I'm happy. We're going to flip it over. And we're going to glue this part down. And then we should have a nice secure head and foot to our spine. I'm going to give myself a little more glue. Hopefully it hasn't resealed itself. Yes, it has. It does that. That's all right. There we go. We don't need much. We will when I do the... I'm going to reinforce the folds with a little bit of light cheesecloth. I've done that before on camera. All right, so we're going to... I'm just going to do my best to sort of paint the PVC onto PVC? Yeah. The white glue. Why fight it? My brain wants to call it the white glue. I'm going to call it the white glue. And just give that a good little painting of the glue. And then pat that down. Turn this around. And again, we're going to get some of that excess away. For the most part, it dries clear, or at least matte, unlike Fabri-Tac or 3-in-1 that will dry shiny. So I don't recommend, unless how you plan to put it in isn't going to show, then by all means go ahead and use 3-in-1 or Fabri-Tac, because it is fabrics that you're using, you're gluing together. But otherwise, this will hold just fine. And again, I'm doing some pinching here, reminding it. I've had times where, usually it's the foot, the base here, has just been chewed away. Whether it's because of time, whether it's because of perhaps the shelf it was on, perhaps the shelf had acid in the paint or the stain and ate away at it, or the glue that was used on the inside was not acid free, or perhaps it was rodents that chewed away at it, wanting to get at the paper for nesting or eating. I've had times where it's almost been nothing there to work with, and I've just had to completely rebuild a base and then do my best to make it look like it was always that way. You know, you can use little details like brass brads and that and make it look kind of dramatic. But for the most part, if it just presents the way this one did, this one's a breeze. And I'm just encouraging that nice curve that I like. And that way, if you're wondering why you went to all that trouble to choose pretty fabric and now we don't even see it. Well, if this old fabric should decide to keep wearing away over the next few years, maybe the new owner will want the convenience of storing it upright on a bookshelf. Then as it wears away, the pretty fabric underneath, it's just cotton, will show through. So that's what I do in cases like that. As I said, I'm pretty impressed that it looks as good as it does. I'm going to put the old text block back in. I don't plan on using a lot of this text block to put back into the book. I'll be using the front pages. Oh, it was upright. I'll be using the front pages, but it's pretty blah. There's no illustrations. There's not even any fun. Sometimes the first page of each chapter at least has kind of some cool printing on it, and there really isn't anything like that in this book. So I really don't think I'll be using a whole lot. I think this text block is going to become shredded packing for when journals get shipped. All right, so that's it for today. It was short and sweet. I hope that's showing. Let's see if I can get a little bit bigger. No, there we go. So I hope that shows a little bit better. Here's a case where I will get out my nice sturdy napkin holder that's kind of wide, and it'll just hold it upright for me while these dry. And then when I'm done, I will be using the same glue, and I will be laying this inside and fortifying these folds from the inside out, just to give them a little bit more strength. And then they will still be getting more strength even so with when I put my text block in, because there are always wings on the side of my text block that include fabric and paper. So it's going to be fine and not need anything further than that. I just wanted something very light and just to give it a little bit more security. All right, so thanks for joining me today. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk at some point later on this week. Take care. Bye.